Welcome guys to John's Football Channel. This is your preview to PSG versus Arsenal in the Champions League final. Very big game. I think this is the biggest game that you can ever ask for. One of the biggest, I think, apart from the World Cup final. This is probably the next best thing. And I think obviously it is the best trophy that you could actually win in terms of club football. So let's get into this preview. So if you take a look, obviously the game's been playing at Budapest at Hungary. Puskas Arena, and then obviously we have Daniel Stiberg as the referee for this game. I was quite surprised to see actually the stadiums. I think it's a bit fairly small. I mean, 67,000 fans that are for the capacity. I would think that's quite a small stadium in order to host such a big event like this. And then if you take a look at let's take a look at PSG's lineup. There obviously was Stafford in goal, Emery as the right back, Marquinhos and Paco as the centre backs, and then Mendes as the left. And then in midfield, they could possibly go with Neves, Vitinha, and Fabian Rez as the midfield. And then ahead of them as the attacking force, Doe as the left wing, Dembele as a striker, and Kvaratskhelia as the right wing. For this, obviously, we know what they've done in the past. We know what they've done against to Chelsea. We know they were able to get the result against Bayern Munich. Now it's just a question of can they actually finish the job off against Arsenal. Let's take a look at Arsenal's starting lineup. They could possibly go with David Raya in goal, and then in the defense, Cavafoni as the left back, Gabriel and Saliba as the centre backs, and then Timber as the right back. And then in midfield, it is a question of will they go with Lewis Kelly? I personally don't think so. I don't. Surely they have to have someone a bit better than Lewis Kelly. I know he's a decent baller for Arsenal, but I think we know that he's a quite youngster, and I don't think we can actually be playing him in such a big event. And then along him will be probably Declan Rice, and then Odegaard as the cam. Ahead of them would possibly be Trossard, Gyökeres, and Bukayo Saka. We also know there's been speculation about Trossard leaving. So would Trossard stop be playing this game? That it would be a question. I personally don't think so. I don't think Trossard actually starts this game. I think Martinez should actually start ahead of him as well. And then Lewis Kelly. I'm sure they were able to find another midfielder in this team that are able to help them up, despite, because we know Lewis Kelly, obviously, like we mentioned, that he's not there, so they need to find someone else who can actually do the job. But I suppose being along Declan Rice, there's not much you have to worry about. I mean, majority of the job Declan Rice will be able to do. But it would feel like a 10-man versus 11-man team. So I think hence why they need to actually not play Lewis Kelly for this game. And if we look at injuries, Luis Enrique has nothing, while as Michael Arteta has Norgard and White injured. They're all doubts for this game. So we'll actually see what Arteta does for this game. Is there anything else that he can do to surprise Luis Enrique? Obviously, I think Luis Enrique can expect how Arsenal will shape up. I think obviously it would be Luis Enrique as the formidable force. It would be a case of Michael Arteta having to implement a structure to defend against Luis Enrique's team. So I think in this game we could possibly see that Arsenal are more defensive in this game. I think maybe for majority of the game they'll be probably more defensive. Not to say they'll be defensive the whole game. They are a decent side. We know this. Hence why they're in the Champions League final. Hence why they won the Premier League title. But I think the way I see it, I think Arsenal might be defending for probably maybe 60% of the game, I would say, but 40% I think they would definitely be on it and trying to catch PSG off guard. And then if we look at some form going into this game, Arsenal, I have all wins, 5 wins in the last 5 for them. With PSG, though, they have 2 draws, 2 wins, and then 1 loss. So now Does the loss and the draws play into this game? I don't think so. I think the loss for PSG could be a thing of them actually trying to find a way to have more time to prepare for this game, and ensure that they're actually fully ready for this game. We know that obviously Arsenal have finished the league on a high, so it is a question of can they knowing that they've finished on a high, can they actually go on a high and come back down and be focused, be ready, be hungry again to actually go and win the Champions League. I suppose that's what Arteta would say. He would tell them, guys, let's leave the party for afterwards. We have a small little party winning the league, but let's leave the rest of it for after us winning the Champions League as well. Then we're able to celebrate properly. It would be a stupid thing to do, I suppose, because now if you lose, I mean, then you don't really have much motivation to actually enjoy the league. You don't know, I mean, look at Chelsea. So it's nearly 10 years to get probably it's going to be 10 years that we have not won the league. Sure, when we won the league, we all thought we would be winning the league the next season, and that was not the case. So Arsenal obviously need to appreciate that they won the league and actually find a way to find the balance between enjoying the league as well as knowing that they got another game to prepare for and be ready for it. And then if we look at some the top players for going into this game, obviously Kvaratskhelia will be number one for PSG, and then Martinelli will be the other player for Arsenal. I think it could be between Martinelli and Bukayo Saka, but I suppose for Champions League probably Martinelli has more goals than Bukayo and the rest of the team. Obviously Kvaratskhelia has 10, Martinelli has 6 assists. Kvaratskhelia has 6, while as Martinelli only has 2. And then Kvaratskhelia has played 15 games, while as Martinelli only played 13. So obviously we know how capable Kvaratskhelia is, how dangerous he is. I think obviously Arsenal, on the other hand, I don't really rate Martinelli as a top baller. I know he has pace. He has pace like Neto, but he's not able to be consistent in terms of goals, in terms of crosses, in terms of assists, and I think hence why no one's putting him in the bracket of a top baller for Arsenal right now. I think obviously he needs to get more form, and recently he's been obviously under Arteta, he's been coming off the bench more than actually starting games for Arsenal. Maybe that's a super sub. Maybe that's how certain players need to be seen, as super subs, regardless of how good they've been doing recently. They need to stay as a sub and actually have that explosive pace, especially when you're coming off in the second half and able to attack tiring defenders. And then if we look at some insight for this game, PSG are attempting to become the second team to defend the Champions League title. And then PSG scored 44 Champions League goals this season, one shot of the all-time league campaign. So probably they need one more to actually hit the record. And then PSG lost local rivals Paris FC in their recent most League One match. I don't think that will be playing much in effect about this, because I'm sure they already won the title by then. It's not like Arsenal I suppose also didn't need to win, but we knew that. I think it was just a good thing to win the last game of the season, especially when you're gonna lift the title. And then PSG, obviously, you all know that what they did against Chelsea, what they did against Liverpool, and what they've done to Bayern. I know with the Bayern game, we all thought that Bayern needed to score first in order to not lose. But PSG ended up scoring first, and Bayern Munich were able to continue and actually keep fighting, basically. So for this game, I think we would all have the same mindset in terms of Arsenal definitely needs to score first in order to have a chance at being confident, knowing that they're still in the game and able to actually win this thing. But I suppose at that level, you need to have the mentality, no, one goal doesn't define how the game goes, how the game will end. So I think, obviously, it's very easy to go into that mindset of saying, no, Arsenal need to score first. But I suppose if they have a good mindset and are really, really focused, one goal wouldn't necessarily faze them. Not to say that they should go 1-0 down, but I think if they can, they'd obviously want to score first. But if it doesn't really happen, then hopefully they have the mindset to actually change the results around and actually win this game for them. With Arsenal are only unbeaten in 2025-2026 Champions League across 14 matches. Arsenal conceded just 2 goals in the last 6 knockout matches, none of them from open play. And then Arsenal tailed for only 43 minutes across the entire 25-26 Champions League campaign. Arsenal have played 225 European Cup and Champions League matches without winning the trophy. So obviously they're hungry, and they actually, I wouldn't say they deserve it, but I suppose you get this close, you need to do something. You need to have some form of silverware for your efforts. We said the same thing about Arsenal actually winning the title. They did that. Now it's a question of, can they get 2 out of 2 and win the Champions League final? For me personally, I do see Arsenal as a good team, but I think I just see them as a good team. I don't see them as a team where they have 1 or 2 players where they can actually trust on a week-in-week basis that this guy is definitely going to perform today. They don't have that. With Man City, you have Haaland. With PSG, you have Dembele, you have Kvaratskhelia. You have these certain players who are actually able to get the job done. But with Arsenal, I don't actually see a specific person where I can actually say, no, this guy will definitely play well. We could think Bukayo Saka, but sometimes from Bukayo Saka also probably sometimes he's played out of the game and doesn't actually do anything in the game as well. So we'll soon see what actually happens. But I'm actually more edging to PSG actually winning this tie. If I had to think about a result for this game, I would actually think it could probably finish 2-1. We know that Arsenal is not a team to actually go and score a lot of goals. So I suppose if they're going to score, they better make sure they're the only team to score on the night. But with PSG, we know that even though they can, any team can score against them, they know they can double it and actually score just as much as they concede. So hence why I think Arsenal have to, in order for them to win this tie, they would actually have to, I think, sit back, hopefully drag Kvaratskhelia, Dembele and Doué into their defense and try to hold them there. And then also just exploit the back line, because we know their team in the back, I don't think is the most strongest. If we think about how the players, we know they have Marquinhos and Paco is decent players, but they're not the elite level. So I think there is some chance of Arsenal getting some goals, but they definitely need to play correctly and actually have to wait for the opportunity to actually exploit them correctly, because if they don't, they'll be hurt and leaving themselves very exposed in the back. So yeah, guys, let me know down below what you guys think of this game. What are your score predictions? Like I said, I'm going to go 2-1. Please comment down below what you guys think. How do you see the game going? And please comment down below what you guys' score predictions will be for this game. Guys, this is my preview to PSG versus Arsenal in the Champions League final. Let's go. Cheers.